I know when Roblox banned me today, like I checked the little box that said like, I understand, I'm not gonna do this again. So I checked it off, meaning that I fully told Roblox, yes, I'm never doing this again. And then they reactivated my account based on that promise. And guess what, Roblox? I am doing this again. So already, I did not expect this to happen so quickly, but as of like starting to work and record for this video, Roblox has banned my account once. Now, this wasn't like some permanent like 1 week ban or anything like that. It simply said that the game that I uploaded to Roblox, which is this exact game that you're looking at right now, it deemed it to be offensive. It deemed some language in there to be offensive to the average player, and it basically made me say, hey, your account is disabled. Please delete/change the offensive, they call them assets for some reason. Please delete the offensive asset, and then click this little checkbox that you're not gonna do it again, right? And I click the checkbox, obviously, and then we're gonna restore your account. So now I have my account back. And you're probably wondering, how did this even happen? What offensive thing did I do inside of this untitled game? Now, the crazy thing about this game is that it is private. It's only accessible to me as a developer. No other player can actually play it. I was the only person who's played it. It says 2 visits right here, and yet it still ended up temporarily, but still banning me. So now you might be wondering, how did this happen? And how can we avoid this? So this is the project file of that game. As you can see, we have a lot of amazing stuff here, as in we just have the blank project file and nothing else. I started this game with one intention: to see if I can bypass the chat filter. You know how Roblox has this dumb filter where you play the game and then if you try and type something in chat, it just filters a bunch of stuff. Like, even I remember there was a point where you couldn't say numbers at all. So I remember I played this game where it was like, I need 30 coins. Like, I said something like that, and then it literally censored my entire message. And like, as a kid, I was like, I picked up that I wasn't allowed to use numbers, but I never quite understood why, right? Or how, you know, you can't say things like Instagram, Discord. You know, like, Roblox does this for, you know, child privacy, which I do understand, but there definitely is a lot of moments where Roblox is just way too strict about it. However, I'm not even talking about those moments. I'm talking about full-on swear words, full-on swearing, full-on, obviously nothing too bad, but things that Roblox would usually fully censor. Is there a way for us to basically replicate a chat within the game that bypasses this Roblox chat filter and also doesn't immediately get you banned as the creator and get your game get taken down? This was my question. Now, just to quickly show you, because I am in studio, I can actually say anything. So let me even say this, right? This is gonna go through because I'm in studio. There's no filter here. I could literally say whatever I want. It's not going to care. Now, if I update this game, actually play this game as it's supposed to, you know, on Roblox, you can even see this here. Roblox automatically translates supported. Okay, never mind. I thought this was like a message that Roblox is gonna filter the chat. But here is where there's a lot of things that I can't say. I mean, let's even try the number message. I'm pretty sure Roblox is a lot more like okay with numbers now. So if I say like I need 30 coins, it should be fine, yeah. But then I believe something like Discord is not allowed. Yeah, I can't say Discord. Can't even say Insta, I think. Yeah, I can't say Insta. Definitely can't say any swear words. Yeah, there we go. So Roblox just automatically censors all of that. Now, my very first thought when I started to implement the system was, okay, does Roblox censor every bit of text? What about something like user interface, like maybe a button? And so that's exactly what I did, right? I made a button, then I just changed its text to be, you know, profanity or whatever, or even let's do something that it usually censors, like Discord, right? And if I play the game, you may notice that it actually allows this word, right? So it says Discord, it's all fine, there's no censors. Of course, if I say it in chat, it is censored. So I realized, oh, we need to use this. Roblox censors the chat, but not the actual user interface. However, this of course has its own problems, because this is exactly what got my account suspended to begin with, right? Because I made a button, I said some bad word on there, right? And then Roblox, I guess, somehow detected that and then said, even though the game, again, was private, was only played by me 2 times, Roblox, within 10 minutes of the game being out, they do move quickly, I'll admit, but they basically banned my account, said, oh, we detected bad language in your thing or whatever. And so let me show you this cool little thing that I came up with. I created a replica of the Roblox chat. So if I just enable this right now, look at this, right? It does look a little bit off, I'll admit. Like, I think I got the background a little wrong. I think the default chat looks a bit different. Like, let's see. Yeah, you know, there's like a slight difference here, but this looks fairly realistic, right? You can click here. You can type whatever you want, right? Nothing happens yet, obviously. I've yet to actually script the logic for this chat, but you can do this, you can scroll. Obviously, there's nothing here yet, but this is a very good start. The other thing that I added was an actual way to show player messages. So I made this invisible again, just for, you know, the factor of surprise. But effectively, I made a thing where whenever I add this new text, it does this like nice, cute layout, or not cute, you know, like efficient layout. And yeah, look at that. So I can just do this, and my idea here is very simple. We have all of these texts, right? So what if, whenever a player types something in here and presses enter, we basically just take what they typed in this box, we create a new text label like this, then we just put it underneath here, we maybe give this like 10 seconds, and then we just delete the chat. So whenever the player says something, it's going to be in chat for like 10 seconds, and then it's going to be deleted. So yeah, making the script for this also should be pretty easy. I will make this on video. I know people find scripts boring, but I'll do it very quickly. I'm not going to waste any time, because the goal from the start obviously wasn't to script, it was to remake a chat system. But initially, seeing as I actually want this to be a legitimate looking chat system, see here how it says click here or press the / key. So I want to actually script that in, because as of right now, when you press the / key, it just opens the real chat, but nothing happens with this, right? So we actually have to disable the original chat, and we have to make sure that when you press the / key, this box actually just like appears and you're able to type in it and everything. And the way that I'm going to do this is actually very simple. I'm going to get the user input service of Roblox. I'm going to detect whenever input begins. I'll get the actual input, then I'll get processed event. All you have to know about processed is that it's going to return true if the player has done an input while they're doing like typing or something like that. So if the player is typing, we don't actually want to do anything. We only want this to work when the player is actually playing the game, in which case proc will be false. So we can say if proc is true, then we're going to return, meaning we're just going to do nothing, because we don't want to do anything if the player is like typing in the chat. Then we have to check if this input is actually a slash. So I'm going to say if input dot, I believe it's like keycode or something, enum.keycode / yep, there we go. Then we're going to take this text box, right? So I'm going to say script.parents, and then we can say capture focus, which will force the client to focus on the text box. So the way this is going to look is something like this. So let's say I'm playing the game, I press the / key. Yeah, right now it opens up the real chat, which is a little annoying. But like, for example, let's do different. Let's say E, right? So if I press E, how would it work? Yeah, see, there we go. So I press E, and then it, yeah. Now disabling chat was actually pretty easy. I just have to do this little function, right? So I said GUI enabled, I get the chat, I set it to false, and now what's going to happen is that whenever I play the game, there should basically be no chat. There we go, right? And so now if I press /, nice. Whenever I press /, it like does a / key, which is kind of annoying, but that's fine, right? So now I can, do something, I can type a bunch of stuff. Now, if I hit enter, nothing happens. We haven't actually scripted the logic for that yet. So let's actually do that right now. What I'll do is I'll make a variable for this text label. So I'm going to say local text label is going to be equal to game, replicated storage, wait for child, text label. I'm going to say script.parent, which is the text box, focus lost connect function. And focus lost here effectively means like when the player does something like presses enter. So if the player finishes typing, right, then they press enter, that loses focus. Or if the player clicks away, that also loses focus, but we only want this to function when the player hits enter while they were typing something. And it's actually very convenient that Roblox literally provides us with this information. It gives us a true or false value whether enter was actually pressed. So we can just call this enter pressed, right? And so if enter wasn't pressed, so if not enter pressed, we don't want to do anything. However, otherwise, we want to clone this label. So I'll say new label is equal to text label clone. We're going to set the text of this new label equal to, well, first of all, the player's username in square brackets, and then the message that the player has actually said. So I'll say .text is equal to, and then we effectively have to connect strings together, right? So I have to do the square bracket, then I have to say game players local player .name, then I have to close it off with another square bracket, a colon, a space character, and then we're going to get the text of the text box, which I'll say script.parent.text. Then we're going to say new label .parent is equal to the scrolling frame. We want it to be the scrolling frame. So we can say script.parent, which is the text box. We can get the parent of the text box, which is the frame. And then when we have the frame, we can say scrolling frame. So we're going to add this new label inside of the scrolling frame. Now, right before we're done, we also have to clear the text box so that there's no more text in there. So I'll say script.parent.text is equal to nothing. And finally, here what we're going to do is we're going to say task wait. We're going to wait 10 seconds, and then we're just going to delete this new label. So new label, destroy, like so. So let's actually try this out. If I hit / key, and let's say I type in some stuff, right? Now, if I click away, nothing's going to happen. Oh, there we go. But if I hit enter, look at that. Very nice. And then after 10 seconds, it should go away. If I type something like Discord, obviously, once again, this is studio, so everything is allowed. I can say anything. And yeah, look at that. So the top message disappears. This one's going to disappear soon as well. Nice. There we go. So here I am in an actual real game. I actually quite like how the chat looks here, I'll be honest. Like, it's a bit smaller here than in Roblox Studio, but I don't know. Like, I saw this and I was like, wait, is this the default chat? And then I realized it's my chat. I'm just glazing myself here at this point, but I quite like how this looks. So let's actually try this out, right? Can I say Discord? Nice. Can I say a swear word? Nice. Can I say, I don't know, Instagram? Amazing. Look at that. perfect. Oh, and this is actually a small little thing that I forgot to do. But once we do this, I'm also going to check if the player has a character. So let's say if game, players, local player, character. Then what I want to do is I want to actually create a bubble above the player. You know how like when a player chats something, there's a bubble that pops up above their head. So we can actually do just that. I can say game.text chat service display bubble. So then it needs a part or a character, which again, game, players, local player dot character, and then the actual message that we want to display, which should be the script.parent.text, which we clear over here. So what I'll do is I'll clear it here instead. So we still have the text, we use it here, and then we finally clear it. So if this works, let me actually play test this real quick. Hello. Yeah, look at that. There we go. Nice, amazing. Yeah, Discord. Now, I actually want to quickly playtest the display bubbles in a real game because I'm unsure how Roblox treats display bubbles when it comes to filtering. So if it filters the default chat, does it also filter the bubbles or does it not do that? Let's see. Okay, so this works. Let me do Discord. Oh, this works. Oh, this works too. That's nice. So yeah, it seems like the default chat is the one which does all the filtering, right? The bubble chat simply takes what the chat gives it. That's actually very, very interesting. I mean, I think I anticipated this to be the case even before I started this, but it's cool to kind of have that insight on how the chat actually works. So it's the chat that does the filtering, not the bubble. So now with this system being done, we actually have one final thing, which is to actually show the other players what we are saying, because as of right now, this will only work for us. So we're not going to see other players' text. We will only detect what we type, and that's it. And the goal isn't that, right? The goal is to actually have other players see what we're typing. So the way for us to actually communicate with other people is that we need to pass a message to the server. The server will then, check the code. We're going to like script our own system, and then the server will send a message to other players saying basically like, hey, do whatever. And, we're going to get the other players to do all of these functions. Here's the problem. I'm not too certain of this, but I believe that the reason why I got suspended, or not suspended, why my account got banned effectively, is because I wrote bad language or whatever that the game could actually see. However, I believe that, and again, don't quote me on this, but I believe that if something only appears on the client, because the client could be manipulated, right? That's what hacking is. If I go play a game, I could have a script injector that effectively just changes anything to whatever. So I could literally play a game which has like normal text, and I could change that text to be like slurs or something, right? Now, I've heard that Roblox, I believe there was a point where Roblox actually would ban games for this, like where exploiters would go in, they would change the text of the game, like just on their client, right? They would which is very easy to do as an exploiter. The Roblox would then believe that it was the game's fault that, the exploiter changed a normal piece of text into something bad, and then the game would get a ban. Now, I believe that's been fixed, which means that anything that's on the client can't really be tracked or traced because once again, players can very easily manipulate that. So then the question becomes, how do we get the message to the server and then get the message to the other players without actually triggering the Roblox script into like seeing the bad message? Basically, how do we make the message hidden and then decode that message once it arrives to the client? Well, here's what I'm thinking. What I'll do is I'm gonna make a table, right? I'll call this temp table, like so. This will just be an empty table. Then I'm going to loop through the script.parent text. So I'm going to say for iv in string split, which yes, script.parent.text, and then the separator is just going to be empty space. What this will do is this will return a table of every single character in the string. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to say temp table, I'm going to say square brackets I. So I is basically the number of times that we're looping. So it's like the order, right, that we're looping through. So if we're looping through the first character, I is going to be 1. If we're looping through the second character, I is going to be 2, and so on. So here I'm basically saying, okay, the first character in the table should be V, right? Then the second is going to be the second character, and the third one is going to be the third character, so on and so on. What do we then need to do is we need to send this over to the actual server. The way that I'll do this is I'll make a remote event, and I'm going to say, I'll actually make a variable for it here. Local event is equal to game, replicated storage, wait for child, remote event. And I'm going to say event fire server, and we're going to give it this temp table. Then on the server, we're going to say game replicated storage, remote event, on server event, connect function. And we're going to get 2 pieces of data. By default, we're going to get the player who actually fired the event. So I'm just going to call this variable player, and any other data that we give it. And again, remember, we gave it this table, right? So I'm going to call it temp table. So again, here we're just hoping that Roblox does not detect that this table contains a secret phrase, because as of right now, the table seemingly just has random characters, right? So then all we're going to do is we're going to go through every single player except for our player. I'll say for I, V in game, players gets players do. If V, which is like a player we're looping through, if V is equal to the player who initially sent the message, then continue end. Continue just means we're gonna skip to the next loop, right? So we don't want to send this to our player because our player will already do it for themselves, right? However, for all other players, we're gonna fire them the same event. So we'll say game, replicated storage, remote event, fire to client, which is going to be, V, so fire client V, and we're gonna pass them the temp table. So we're not actually gonna decode the table here because then Roblox might find out. We're just gonna pass them the table, everything's fine, and then the decoding will happen locally. So once again, event, so this is on the local script, event, on client event, connect function. And actually, I just realized we probably should also pass them the player who's supposed to be saying this, right? Because that's how they can get the name, and that's when they can like put the bubble above the correct player. So I'm gonna say player temp table, like so. And so then I'll effectively just copy this, right? So I'll copy this, I'll paste it over here. But of course, we're gonna have to change up some things, right? Like instead of game players local player dot name, it's gonna be this player's name, right? So plr dot name, and instead of this being the script.parent.text, we want to take this temp table and we want to actually decode it. So what I'll do is I'll say local decoded text. Initially it's just going to be nothing. We're then going to loop through the table, right? So for I v in temp table do, and then we're simply going to say decoded text is equal to decoded text, and then we're going to add on to the decoded text whatever value we're currently looping through. So we're going to say temp table and then I, like so. Now the reason I'm not saying V, so as a beginner you might not understand anything that I'm talking about, but for subscriptors who like actually understand, you might think, oh yeah, you might use V. Now this might just be a tidbit and Roblox might not work exactly like this, but tables sometimes have this dumb issue where they just like reorganize a bunch of stuff. So just to ensure that we are going in the correct order, I'm basically using the actual numbers that we organized the table in over here, right? So this way we basically can ensure that the order will always be correct and not randomized, just to be safe. Yeah, and so once again, here we're gonna do decoded text, and we're gonna do the same thing here. So if player.character, then we're gonna say, yeah, display the bubble above the player character, and the bubble is going to say decoded text. And we of course aren't going to do any of this. We aren't going to do any of this as well. And of course then we're going to wait 10 seconds and say new label destroy. All right, so what I'm doing here is I'm running the game locally with 2 players. So both of these are just me, right? So I can flip through. So right now I'm player 1 and here I'm player 2. So let's actually check out how this works. If I say hello, okay, player hello, and look at the bubble here, and oh, look at that. Look at that. It perfectly decoded the message. Player 2 says hello, so it actually does it above their head. Very, very nice. I expected this to have some like error or something, but this actually works flawlessly. And again, what if I say, give me your Instagram and Discord and Snapchat, whatever, right? All the banned terminology. Then it just goes all through. Yeah, if the message is a bit too long, this will happen, unfortunately. So, just ensure that your messages aren't too long. This is really funny though. It disappears a bit too quickly though, so I might actually change that. But yeah, you could literally say anything right now. To be in line with Roblox TOS, I'm not gonna say anything too bad. I'm sure you have some words in mind, but yeah, with this method, I believe that because it's only local, because only you as the player can see it, because the actual server, the actual game script doesn't have full-on access to the actual bad word, quote unquote, that you're trying to say, I believe it's never actually going to detect it, and I believe that all the bad stuff will only be on the client. And I'm unsure if Roblox will ban players for this. I don't think it will, because then what if a game does that, right? Like what if a game makes a thing on the client where it prints something bad and then the player gets banned? So I doubt Roblox would do that. So I think this might be like a foolproof method of doing this, unless of course someone wants to go and correct me in the comments. But yeah, so I'm gonna save to Roblox. I'm going to publish to Roblox as well. For me right now, the only thing is I'm just curious if actually making this game fully public and having people play it will have any bad consequences. Like people are obviously gonna say bad stuff, right? But I'm just wondering, because I made a game before where anyone could write code, and Roblox somehow picked that up. I have no clue how they did it, but they picked it up that anyone could write code, and then they banned the game, or not, they didn't ban the game, but they basically made me private the game, and they basically said, you know, oh yeah, your account is banned for like a day or something like that, because it promoted exploiting, which it never did. I don't know where they got that from. Like, I literally made the game in a way where people could not exploit. Like, I specifically made it so that like code with certain keywords wasn't allowed, right? Well, to make the game fun and to also make it so that people can't just exploit this stuff. But yeah, I'm curious to see whether this is gonna be different. I know when Roblox banned me today, I told them that, like, I checked the little box that said like, I understand, I'm not gonna do this again. So I checked it off, meaning that I fully told Roblox, yes, I'm never doing this again. And then they reactivated my account based on that promise. And guess what, Roblox? I am doing this again. So yeah, I mean, I'm gonna have the game just in the back here. So how about this? If the video starts gaining traction, right? Because if the video gets stuck at like a few thousand views, who cares, right? But if this actually starts getting like a couple 100,000 views, then I'll be like, okay, you know what? Let's make the game public. Let's see how this plays out. I could even make a whole video, which would require some censoring, so maybe I'm not gonna do that. But it would be fun to like have a bunch of people play this game and like see the wonderful and beautiful and heartwarming messages that these players could come up with. And yeah, you know, I do wonder if there's actually any other way to utilize this chat, because again, I made a fake chat, you know, to actually have this work. But I wonder, like, is there any other use case for a fake chat, you know, like besides just letting players say whatever they want? I do wonder. Like, do let me know in the comments, because I quite like what I've made here. Like, I don't know, I think it looks very clean, and it would be fun just to have like ideas on what to do with this in the future. But yeah, you know, you can go check out my Instagram. This is a little side point, but I have like pet pigeons, or I had pet pigeons. We found them as like little tiny babies. They were like left alone somewhere. We took them in, raised them. They basically just grew up. Like, I would like pick them up. They would like fly away from us, but also they would like fly on my arm, like they knew me. It was pretty cool. I have images of them. It's pretty nice. So you can go to my link tree, which is in the description in the pinned comment. Check out the Instagram, follow, like, all that. If you like my teaching style, and if you actually do want to learn Roblox Studio and make these beautiful, amazing, top tier games just like I am, in the link tree there also will be a link to my course, which is $30. It used to be $60, but I just decided to reduce it, so it's basically 50% off now forever. A bunch of people bought it. They like it. I've gotten like really nice messages online about how like people like my course. There's one bad review, but it's like in Spanish, and I can't read Spanish, so let's just say that there's no bad reviews. But yeah, do subscribe, do like, do share, do leave a comment, you know, all that engagement stuff. And yeah, as always, we are back to basics. Thank you for watching.